everybody. Today I have with me Aaron Morris. Aaron is a chiropractor who lives in Barcelona. And I've invited Aaron onto the chat with me today because one thing that I find really important is knowing what our values are. One thing for me during this moment where we've had to be at home and reflect a little bit, I have been going through about really what is important to me. And it's really become obvious the things that are and the things that aren't, and now that we're all sort of going back to something that was our life before COVID, I think it's really important that we are in a great moment where we can choose which path we want to take now, because sometimes we get taken on a ride and we make decisions based on what we know from other people, not based on our own values. And I know Aaron has worked on this a lot because of his own journey. And I wanted to talk to you today, Aaron, a little bit about your journey and how you came to discover what are your values. And maybe if you could give us a bit of a hand to try and put words to what our values are. So
exactly. Okay, that's great, Aaron.
Thank you for being here and going. Thank you, Aaron.
You're very, very welcome. It's awesome to be on your program. So basically the thing about values is it's everything. So
just that little thing.
There you go, just that little thing. What does that mean? It means what are values? It's what's valuable to you, what's most important to you, and what you value most. And so why would I be on here talking about this? Mainly because I've done a lot of work on it with people who I really respect within and outside the profession. So I've done tons of work with Dr. DeMartini and Tony Robbins. I've had a life coach that I've worked with since 2013, since I got sick, and went through that whole process. And then just meditating and being really kind of just trying to get connected with what is really important. So for me,
Aaron, could you tell us a little bit about your journey, please?
Okay, sure. So I got into practice and talking about values, and when we're not completely clear on what our values are, what we generally tend to do, and I learned this from John DeMartini, is we will take other people who are clear on their values. So if we're down here, we'll put somebody on a pedestal, and if we're not clear exactly on what is important to us, we will inject their values into our lives and make their values our values. So for example, we see somebody on stage at an event and we go, that person, he or she is amazing. Oh my God, I could never be like them. Wow, I'm so impressed. And then what we'll do is we'll mimic them. We'll take their values and go, well, I want to be like them. And that's really normal. That happens a lot.
Can that happen with your parents too?
It can happen with our parents. It can happen with mentors. It can happen with teachers. It can happen at church, if you go to church, with pastors and things like that. But we're very, very influenceable when we're young. And so it happens when we're little, and it continues as we're adults. And so anyway, as I got into practice, I love chiropractic. I was just completely in love with the idea of helping people just using my hands and being able to see amazing results and help people. But I wasn't super clear on my values. And so this process happened to me where I injected values from other people that I put on a pedestal and worked in a style of practice that was successful. And I'll say air quotes successful, because it was successful and I had a lot of patients, I had a lot of miracles, and I had a lot of money, right? But I didn't feel great about what I was doing in practice. I didn't have the feeling of fulfillment,
right?
Which that feeling, Aaron. It's like, you don't have fulfillment, why do it? And that for me is my new definition really for success, is the feeling of fulfillment when you're doing whatever you're doing.
Isn't it funny though, because I remember that time too with you, and so many people can be not jealous, but like, wow, Aaron's really got it going on. Aaron's like, wow, it's funny how sometimes, the impression you give and the reality of one can sometimes be two different things.
It's so true. And for me, it was just like, we hear it a lot in the profession where it's like, oh, they're totally killing it. They're killing it, the chiropractors. And what does that generally mean when I say someone's killing it? High volume?
A lot of people. Yeah.
They're seeing a lot of people. And it's like, yeah. And so I was definitely in that as well. It was like, I want to kill it, man. I want to be one of those awesome chiropractors that's killing it. And I get to the point where I was seeing more than 400 people a week for years, but I could never get to 500 people a week. And in my mind, that was like the switch where if I got to 500, then I was a good chiropractor.
Mm.
And until then, I was just basically living in this state of kind of like, I've got to do what it takes. I've got to make this happen, you know? And I felt like I wasn't a good chiropractor, even though I was, but I didn't think I was
Yeah.
because I had injected beliefs and values of others into my reality. So I won't get into too much details there about what happened. I ended up getting ill, a bunch of reasons for that, I'm sure, that I'll probably never know all of them. And I had quite a fight to get my health back and get my life back. And that really woke me up to, okay, what is this really about? What would bring joy into my life? And I knew we've been friends for a long time, and you were along basically through that process. And there's been quite a change where now I'm really, really interested in, I'm clear on what my values are, and I'm interested in making that a reality for my life.
Aaron, do you think though that we need to go through these extreme experiences to reach our values? Good. Okay. Good.
We don't. I did because I was a stubborn bastard, because I was so locked into this idea of what I thought it meant to be a good chiropractor, and I needed that, like, for my own validation from the outside. We don't need that, because there's ways to work on it before we get the really big wake up call. And I got the really big wake up call because I wasn't listening to the more subtle hints from my greater self.
Right.
You know, as strange as that may sound, what is he talking about? But it's that voice inside of you. It's your essence that knows what you were put on the planet to do. We've all been designed to do something, a divine design. And it's like, we've been born with an innate design to carry out certain things. And if we don't do that, then we start getting these wake up calls. And I didn't pay attention to the subtle ones. So no, to answer your question, we don't have to go through that. We just need to pay attention.
And so to work out one's values, like how can you do that? Like, you know, we use this word value all the time, but like what is a value? Give me an example, if you don't mind, of sharing your values or other people's values.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit tricky because there's a lot of the different kind of personal growth. People talk about it in different ways, but the way I see values are the things that are most important to you. And what I learned from John DeMartini was that, and he has this on his webpage. If you go check out John DeMartini's webpage, he has like this little methodology that helps you. He asks you 13 questions to help you figure out what your values are. And you go through, and it's basically about, what do I spend my life energy on? What do I spend my time on? What are my conversations about? What do I think about? What do I invest my money in? What am I focused on in my life? And the whole point is that our life will demonstrate our values. And we think that we know our values, like my family, my kids, my whatever. And then when you actually look at what is your life demonstrating, is that true? Are you really putting all of your energy or most of your energy into those things? Or what are your true values? And it reveals a lot. It's actually a really cool exercise. So I recommend anyone listening to this. I know you've done it, Aaron, where you can feel like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. And then you figure out from there, if you're not happy with those values, there's ways to change those. And so go ahead.
No, that would be my next question. I mean, for me, I remember too, when I sort of visually saw what my values were, when not my reality, what I thought it was, but like when the clear thing written on the paper, that it's quite surprising, you know, that you do spend a lot of time and your energy on certain things that maybe you would prefer not to, you know. So what does one do about that? And
so first step is finding out the truth and the reality of the situation. It's kind of a slap in the face. It's kind of like jumping cold shower, and like, I wasn't expecting that one. And then what you do is just go, wow, well, life is short. I'm 40 years old right now, or however old you are. And one of the things that really helps me is when I'm laying there on my deathbed, thinking about my life, reflecting on my life, what will make me really proud? What will I just get this tear of gratitude and just go out and just like a flame that's flickering out for the last time, thinking back on my life, feeling really grateful and really happy that I spent my life doing that and being that way, right? And so that's one way, is just think about in the future, what would I love my life to be about? And then, because a lot of people don't really know, Aaron, they have injected others' values for so long that they don't know. And the best way is to make time for yourself, meditate, ask yourself the right questions. If I had hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank right now, or euros or whatever, then what would I do with my life? You know, would it change? Would I practice? If I'm a chiropractor, would I still practice? I've talked to chiropractors who say no, they wouldn't. And then I say, well, what about if you changed the way you practice, so you really loved it? And they say yes. Most say yes.
So then that's a great look at your values then.
It's
Because
a
you're
great look at
obviously
your values.
not working within your value system, because your day-to-day doesn't give you that joy that you do.
Exactly.
Joy. Yeah.
Exactly, because basically what happens is our true values are expressed if I wake you up in the middle of the night and I start asking you certain questions, or I'd say, let's go do this thing, or let's go do that. Whatever your true values are, it won't be energy for you, and it won't be hard for you. We don't need motivation if we're doing what we truly value.
Well, I think,
because,
sorry, I was just thinking that question, for me anyway, has come up right now. You know, it's that we've had to stop, reassess, go back to zero. And so it's like, okay, how does that new growth happen now?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And have you come to any clear thing, like some clear decisions, stuff that you would like to change that you just realized maybe the way you're practicing didn't?
Yeah, I mean, I've come back to practice with what would be my dream practice. But funnily enough, as the week has got busier, I so badly want to go back to my old ways, you know. I desperately want to go back.
Well, and that's going to always be the challenge, because why? Because we've been doing things a certain way since we're probably for a long, long time, many, many years. And one of my coaches once said to me, well, you think about it, your mental patterns and your emotional patterns, we get addicted to those, right? And then it's like, if you think about internet, you have dial-up modem, like very slow, antiquated system. It's just so slow compared to fiber optic that's 100 megas and it's super fast. And the 100 megas is the way we've always been. We've done it so many times that those pathways are just completely connected, and it's natural. It's like, it's automatic for us now. And the dial-up modem are the new beliefs and the new values that we want to be investing our life and energy into. So it just takes time. It takes time, and it takes repetition to just, okay, no, I'm going back to it. This is what I want to do. I've done that before. It's given me certain results, but I know I don't want to do that anymore. Let's get focused on this again. Make sense?
Big time. Yeah.
So, so I would just say, when you feel that urge to go back, just understand that it's a program. It's just a program that's been running there in the background, just like it is an operating system on your computer. And now it may be time to just, okay, it's time to change operating systems.
You know? Yeah, reprogram it.
It's time to reprogram. So,
So we know our values. We've done our questionnaire from the DeMartini seminar, DeMartini webpage. What do I do now with my values? Does it just flow then? Does it just happen?
It does, if we stay focused on it, and if we start making that our new normal. You know, that everyone's talking about the new normal with social distancing and all that shit. For me, it's like the new normal now is the new normal is we get to create our new life with our new programs, with whatever inspires us. It's just about how we look at it, right? So what I'd recommend that you do is just take some time every single day. And I know you're busy, you're a mom and you've got a family, and it's just, find that time for yourself every day to just connect and close your eyes and go into that meditation, go into that state where you connect with yourself, and you go and you just see yourself doing that again. See yourself doing the new you, doing those things, the new values that you've just connected with, and just see yourself going through that and feel the energy of yourself going through the day, connected and doing your new values. And then, as Joe Dispenza talks about, our mind doesn't know the difference between fiction and reality. So if we see it in our mind and feel it, it's just, we draw that to us. And so I would definitely spend some time doing that. But it's, number one is finding out those values. And then number two is rehearse it in your mind. And then every time you feel like you're drawn back to it, like to your old self, just understand it's a program, and you're just changing your program.
I had a great thing happen. Of course, I explained my new ideas to my husband, and I
Okay.
asked him to be my umpire. And
Cool.
so when I start to talk about the old ways or start to act in the old ways, he has to like give me the red card. Like, didn't you say you weren't going to do that?
Cool.
Just to
That's very, very good.
keep me in check.
Accountability.
So,
Yeah, accountability partners, it's really great as well. And if it's not I love that it's Mark, that's your partner. But if not, it's a friend who you just trust. You know that they're gonna, hey, I want help with this, you know. And then get a professional to help. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like we go through and we see these amazing athletes that are professional athletes, and they've had a coach since they were little kids, high school, university, professional, and they would never consider going throughout life without a coach. So find someone. There's so many good people out there to help.
Definitely.
And if I may just share one more thing, you asked me a little bit about what my values are now.
Yes.
And I think about, for me, I set up my practice really in line with my values, which number one is to be happy. And that's, I mean, if I'm happy, everything else flows. And then number two is to give my gifts with joy. So just to be joyfully, whatever your gift is, for me, I love connecting with people. I love adjusting people. I really love to teach, but I just love being with people. And then the third one really ties into that, is just the experiencing connection in myself and others as I do it. So it's the values are, it's being happy. It's giving gifts with joy, whatever those are for you. And then for me, it's connecting with myself and with others as I do it. And I find that as I do that, as I make my practice about that, then money and abundance flows to me with ease, with incredible ease.
Yeah.
Instead of making it about my values and my mission is to see X number of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because again, putting that value, because that's like you said, what happens when you get over 500? That's when you're happy? Or I mean, like, what is that number? Like, why? Yeah. Like,
it's an arbitrary number that we pulled out of the air, or we heard someone else say. And then I'll tell you from experience that when I did hit that number, I celebrated it for a couple of hours, and then it was on to 600.
Yeah.
and then it was on to, let me grab an associate and let's go to 1,000, which we never did and didn't work. So you're right. Yeah, it's just this number that, then what? And when we are on our deathbed, and I think my music just started. Deathbed, cue the music. When we are there at the end, and I've been there as a young man. I was 33 when I went through all of that. I'll tell you right now, you're not thinking about, oh, remember that one year in 2011 when I only saw 400 people? That sucked. Or that week I saw 500. We don't think about that, you know.
No, we don't. We don't. Aaron, thank you so much. Thank you. Because definitely, as you were saying your values, all I could think in my head was abundance in love, abundance in energy, and abundance in whatever, you know. So yes, thank you so much for your abundance. And
thank you.
And I hope everybody else feels the same way I do too.
I appreciate you doing this, and your values are coming through crystal clear through this whole quarantine, as you've decided to start this program with CHIRO Chats and helping people, and it's amazing. Community is your thing. It's one of your big things, and you're doing it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.